Hi folks, this is Michael. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a walkthrough of sorts, being super casual. I'm recording myself with nothing scripted beforehand, so I'm totally not used to it. I'm recording the coloring process of this piece that I've done in collaboration with Grafit Studio, and this is also a way for me to promote the previous tutorial that I've made, which is all about how this piece came to be designed and how I achieved that. So you can definitely check in the description of the video. You'll be able to see a link that's going to lead you to their website where you can buy the tutorial. Alright, so let's get going then. This piece, so what I'm doing. So right now, first thing that I do when I color is usually I try to block in some of my main shapes because I am pretty messy when it comes to drawing, painting. So whenever I'm able to save myself some time by previously establishing different shapes that I sure want to hit, and so that I can lock, and that's gonna help me plenty to then work in the specific area that I want. Now I'm realizing that English is not my first language, and I might tend to go or looking for my words from time to time, so please bear with me on that. This is very, very new for me, but I hope you can learn a thing or two. So nothing really special there. It's really, for me, I'm such a drawing guy. Like painting is not something that I enjoy doing much. I mean, it's super fun, but it comes to me as a bit tedious because I have no set process or definite work ethic when it comes to coloring. Like, I know how to render something pretty well, I believe, but when it comes to painting and being sort of expressive and in a limited time, or in a time that is suited for production, I am very, very messy. This is definitely not my cup of tea, so I'm trying to improve on that. And in order to do so, well, for this piece at least, I've watched and tried my hand at emulating Klaus, the movie Klaus's style and aesthetic. I thought the way they designed the movie with all the backgrounds and everything, it's been so carefully thought out, and the style that they used is very, while being at the same time very interesting and very filled with details and interesting shapes and pattern, it's also very simple in how it's treated. Like, the shapes are very simple, but the rendering is all there. Like, you've got your highlights, your main source, your occlusions, everything is really there, and it's, oh man, every single frame of this movie is just such a beautiful painting. So I wanted to learn how to do it and to emulate that. So now that all the main shapes of being blocked on my scene, I started to indicate the main light source. So one of my colleagues suggested that working in hard light mode in the layers could be something very effective to do that. So you know what? I said to myself, oh, let's try this new technique while I record myself. I'm definitely not gonna look like a fool and embarrass myself if I make a mistake or anything that doesn't work. So yeah, you're along with me for the ride, I guess, discovering how this thing works and how I could use this new layer mode that I've never tried before. So what's nice about hard light is that you can work as much within the shadows as in the lights, and that is something that's a bit new for me. Usually I tend to go with a multiply layer, and I will paint all my light information and my shadow information on the same layer. So typically what I do is I create a shape, I then do a clip layer on it, and I start painting like the basic the main color, like diffuse color of an object, and then I'm gonna go and fill in, let's say if the light source is blue, I'm gonna fill it with blue, and then I'm gonna work out the shadows going more towards the gray, as I want there to be contrast of temperature. But that's usually how I go. Now this was something totally different, because once again I can work within the same layer with the shadows and the highlight, but seems like I still split. Oh no, these are the occlusions that I'm working on right now, like the darker shadows that are within the shape. Because what I struggle with whenever I use the multiply layer technique is anything that needs to be in highlight, or from a very, very strong light that the light affects in a way the color, like depending on the exposition of the image that you're looking for. But it's very, very hard to do for me, because your layer kind of goes one in front of another, and it tends to create artifacts that I don't really like. So I try to give it a shot, and I guess it was somehow successful. It was interesting. I definitely learned a thing or two, but I did bang my head against the wall at times, trying to figure out how to make the colors pop the way I want to. Because for this piece, I reference a lot of what's his name? Darn, now that I'm recording the video, I forgot. But you can see on the left a couple of paintings from an artist that I totally forget the name, but I'm gonna be sure to add it in the description of the video later, because he's got a very beautiful, warm and rich color palette for winter elements. And I thought to myself, well, I'd like to mimic something resembling that, right? This guy has a lot more knowledge of the type of environment that he paints, because he's been there, he's done the research, and also he's done some plein air painting. But by looking at his work, I was able to emulate a bit his color and trying to understand his choice. So now that the main shadows and the main highlights, the main light and shadow, have been blocked, I go in the shadow and I refine it a bit. So whenever the light transitions to the shadow, when the sun is low, what I like to do is to delimit, to create a separation between the shadows and the light by introducing a very saturated color in between. You can see that in reality from time to time if you look carefully, but it really enhances the shadow work. And typically digital medium, sometimes it tends to muddy out the colors, but I find that this process really does bring it back to life. It gives a lot of life to your painting. So still defining the different planes, trying to figure out how to best describe the form. Am I going to go for some darker tones in the snow at the bottom, or should I instead rely on lightening it a bit with the ambient light coming from the sky? So always checking back and forth, because as you can see right now, you can see an image coming on and off, on and off, on and off. It's me checking with my sketch how I established the colors that I had in my mind, and this is really the fun part. It's just laying down your what you have in your mind, right? Not focusing on the technique or anything. It's just about putting in the rough colors. And since this part of the process is really intuitive for me, I like to retain it as close to me as possible and look at it as much as I can, because I want to retain that energy. I want to retain that spontaneity and the look that I felt was good enough for working the piece. And so let's get going. Let's keep going, sorry. So now, so every part of the painting beforehand was looking kind of flat, so I just laid out the main colors. But what I like to do, and this is something that's very typical of me, is I put some line work everywhere. I really like to comply. No, is it comply? No, to add or to enhance my work with a lot of line work, actually. I'm very much of a drawing guy rather than a painting guy, so being able to just add lines that delimits the elements that I'm painting, I find it super useful. It's great, but I have yet to find the perfect balance to keep the line work while at the same time having a beautiful rendered look. So this was an attempt on my part here to define a bit more the materials that I'm trying to showcase. And in that case, it's the brick wall, and you've got the plank wood, the wood planks, yeah, wood planks, and yeah. So here again, just adding more details. At this point, the painting is very much in place, right? All the elements are there. It's much more about refining at this stage than it is about figuring anything out, right? So as it stands, there's a lot of contrast and elements that need to either come forward or recede, and I need to make sure that everything reads properly and has the proper language for the reader to understand the story there. So you just saw me messing around with the hard light layer, like all those bright colors. Something very, very new to me, huh? Yeah, what a good idea. What a good idea to try out something new for a recording. Well, at least you learned that, hey, I'm just like everybody else. I'm just trying to do my best, learn from whoever inspires me, whoever is willing to teach me. Like, I'm so fortunate at work to be surrounded with all those amazing artists. Each day they challenge me so much, and they're teaching me about their tricks and how they see the world, how they render stuff, and it's so cool that I'm able to ask them about my process, like what I feel is lacking in my work and what I want to improve. And everybody's just so sharing and caring. It's such a wonderful opportunity and job. I love this crew. It's really nice. At the moment, I'm working on the third Paw Patrol movie. I've previously worked on the second one with all the buddies, and the team is pretty much the same, so it's cool that we're able to stick together and keep learning from each other. Okay, so we're really close to the end now. So what I do at the end is I take everything, merge it, and I use Camera Raw to tweak the colors, and after that it's just a matter of selection and just enhancing the contrast and the colors for making everything pop. And there you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed this small walkthrough and that time with me. Thank you. Bye.